In fact, this is an award that suits us because the screenplay is something that we feel is most important. We didn't improvise anything at all on the set. Did I contribute anything? Did things change? I just tried to serve the screenplay as best I could, and the actors did the same. Of course, they contribute a great deal because they're actors, and that's also very important. However, for me, a good film is a good screenplay to start with. So if you like, what I'm trying to say is that I'm a nomad, and since I went out to Algeria, it's obvious, that's definite. That's being free. That's why I produce this free kind of film. I'm an author, a producer, a director. Why? To be free. No one can prevent me from choosing my topics, my subjects. This enables me to remain totally free and fiercely free because I cannot even contemplate not being free.
Emily, the part in Clean, it was difficult for me to play, put it that way, but I wouldn't say it's the most difficult part that I've had, but because it's difficult not in a technical sense, it was difficult because it was just painful to be her. That was it, but not in the sense that, oh, I have so many things to do that I can't handle it, you know. It's just hard being Emily. She has a hard life. Of course, I thank him from the bottom of my heart for writing this script and giving this script to me and letting me play Emily. And I thank him also for understanding me. And I think I guess out of all the directors that I've worked with or haven't worked with, he's the one who understands me the most because, you know, we were very close.
Among the names, you know, the big names, and I seem like you know, from a small country, and it's quite nobody. And the fact that my film was very small and so personal, so I'm not sure how it can be related to in terms of international audiences, but the fact that the film is here is you know, a miracle for me already. So, but anyhow, I'm super grateful to be have this, to be here also.
Before going to the ceremony this evening, I had no idea what kind of an award I would get. I was given to understand that we would get an award, but I didn't know which one. And when I was told that it was the Best Actor award, I was extremely surprised. But then thinking about it, it's a well-deserved award because we worked for a whole year with these children, and this is the fruit of a whole year's work that transpires in the film. I think one can clearly see how these children and youngsters develop, and so I think the award was well deserved, and I understand why we received it. He had exams to sit, and I woke him up to announce the good news to him. He went back for his exams. His exams didn't go very well, apparently, but he's heard the news, and we shared this wonderful news with him. He was very pleased. The film deals with two characters who are totally contradictory. It also talks about time, comparing past and present, and there are various other features which couldn't be contained in another film, but I tried to merge all these things in just one film, even if there was a bit of a clash. As to your question about whether I expected to receive an award, in fact, there were so many fantastic directors competing that I had never dreamt I would receive an award.
I never, ever thought we would have a chance at winning the Palme d'Or simply because we made a nonfiction film. This is a festival that has a decades-old tradition of celebrating fiction, feature films. So we entered this festival with absolutely no expectation, zero. We were honored to be invited 2 years ago to be the first documentary in 40-some years to even be shown in the festival. That was a risk the festival took. We are greatly appreciative of that. invited us back this year. We were happy to be invited back. That's all we expected. In my mind, I don't start out I'm going to make a documentary. I start with thinking, geez, I'd like to make a really good movie. And so that's what I try to do, is make good movies. And the style I use and the approach I use is through nonfiction, but that's just the vehicle. And I'd like to sort of, take, and I think this is happening anyways, as you alluded to, that nonfiction is taking itself out of its own ghetto. And in recent years, more and more nonfiction filmmakers have been trying new and inventive ways to tell their stories. And so this is a movement that has been, I think, brewing for some time, and I think has really broken through in the last year or two, and something I'm very, very pleased to see happen. And I hope it continues. That the art of this, the cinema of this, making this as a movie, comes before the politics. Political filmmakers who put their politics first instead of the filmmaking end up with a film that no one goes to see. If I just wanted to give a political speech or a number of political speeches, I'd run for office. If I wanted to give a sermon, I would go back to the seminary and, become a preacher. That's not what I've chosen to do. I've chosen to become a filmmaker, and I'm making a movie so that first and foremost, people can go to the movies and have a great experience. If some of those people leave the theater thinking about the issues I've presented, affected by the story as I've told it, all the better. And if some of those end up going and deciding to become good citizens by exercising their right to vote, great. But let's be honest, and the Americans in here know what I'm talking about. You have to start with pretty low expectations in terms of the political end of this. When you live in a country where half the people don't vote. So perhaps this film will have a tremendous impact. I hope it does. I remember as a kid reading this book, The Silent Spring, by Rachel Carson. It was a book that really sort of ignited the environmental movement in the mid-'60s. And occasionally a book or a film, a piece of music, something comes along that moves people to see the world in a different way. If I can make a small contribution in my own way to do that, I will have done something and done something good in my mind. I hope I can do that. I hope I've done that. I think now many Americans realize just how right so many of our good friends, not just the French, the Canadians, the Germans, the Irish, go down a whole long list of good friends of America who tried to do the right thing and tell us that this was the wrong road. I and other Americans are not only disgusted with this portrayal, we're bored by it. It's not even funny anymore. And we owe the people of this country an apology for the way that they were debased and treated